For drivers who hope to be the best, the dream starts here. Ask any motor racing legend and they'll tell you that karting is in their blood. It formed the building blocks of who they are today. This is the Daredevil's Apprenticeship, where the brave learn their trade, and the Castrol Edge CIK Stars of Karting Pro Junior category is the school that teaches racecraft. Here, drivers are taught how to race wheel to wheel and how to listen to what their machine is telling them. They learn how to win, they learn how to lose. This school has some famous graduates too. Names like Ryan Briscoe, Tim Slade and Michael Caruso, all winners of the perpetual John Target Trophy. For the class of 2013, the sky's the limit, but two students in particular have shone through. Series leader James Abella and fellow teenager Liam McClellan, who is just 3 points back.
Yeah, it's been a good year so far. We had a good race down at Sydney at Eastern Creek. We won the final there. Liam's raced here like all the time. It's his home track. He's done a million laps around here. It's going to be hard, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, it's been a great year this year in the CC Racing team and the OK1 car. Yeah, the first two rounds winning them both at Ipswich and Bolivar, and then losing the lead in Geelong. To win this would be the highlight of my go-karting career and would hopefully set me up for the future events.
Outside of the championship contenders sit some fast, hungry junior racers. In third is Andrew Carl, Rookie of the Year so far, courtesy of podium finishes in Ipswich and Sydney. Behind him is Chris Sandroni, who stunned the field in Queensland, winning all three heat races on debut. Rounding out the top five is Damon Strongman, 2 wins this season and on home turf this weekend. While the series win is out of their reach, these three young guns are here to prove themselves on the biggest stage. So who will make their first career steps as a teenage champion? We're about to find out here in Melbourne at the final round of the Castrol Edge CIK Stars of Karting. It might look like child's play, but believe it or not, we have over $5 million worth of equipment crammed into this famous Todd Road circuit. Hi everyone, welcome to Port Melbourne for what promises to be an intense duel between two young men. This weekend, the career path for either James Abella or Liam McClellan will be made that little bit easier, courtesy of a $10,000 scholarship going to the winner to help them race in Europe later in life. Let's have a look at the points and gee, how close is that? In reality, that's a lead that could evaporate with the slightest lapse of concentration. It looks likely to go down to the final race of the weekend, and there's a host of other drivers keen to get some attention and make a name for themselves. These karts might be for kids aged 16 and under, but they are quick. Top speed of around 120 kilometres per hour, and they can stop quicker than you can say Sebastian Vettel, who coincidentally was a champion in these karts back in 2001. They use a 125cc Vortex engine that revs up to 14,000 RPM and a very much a traditional style of kart. So accelerator on the right, brake on the left, and all that braking happens in the rear, so the kart slides around a bit, which is great for teaching young drivers car control. They have a number of adjustable parts too, which teaches them how to set up the kart to handle the way they like it. They use a hard compound tyre from MG, which allows a bit more leeway with tyre degradation, and the overall weight with the driver is just 145 kilos, and that is checked after every race. A great kart and a great category for future racing stars. Time to take a look now at this magnificent Todd Road circuit located right near the Westgate Bridge in Port Melbourne. Starts off with that famous downhill section, max speed on the approach to turn 1 at around 130 k's depending on what kind of kart you're in. Then hard on the brakes, a great overtaking opportunity. Down to the chicane, careful not to hit the curbs too hard through there. The run through turn 4 is just about flat out. Important to carry as much speed through here to set up a pass at the tight turn 5. Then it's hold on down the back straight and through turn 6. If you don't lift through there, you can register 3 Gs through there. Wild stuff. Then it's tight and twisty as it winds its way back up the hill. Super important to get a good run out of the last corner to help make a pass on the next lap. Kilometre long, lap times are around the 40-second mark. Great little track.
A massive championship battle ongoing in Pro Junior, but the heat racing was full of their own incidents. Josh Denton had a big off down at turn 1, but Matt Payne, this championship fight was the story of the day.
Championship leader on board with him, James Abella, started off 3 points in front, had a spin in heat number 2 and fought back in heat 3, and Liam McClellan leads by 9 points going into final 1. Callum Walker, he is on fire this weekend, and we caught up with him in the pit.
Well, we qualified on pole and we won the shootout, so we're starting off first for the with heats. We had a good start in all of them. We just were able to get a gap and keep the gap the whole race. It was good.
Australian motorcycling legend Mick Doohan is the new chairman of the AKA. He's chatting with Chad Nalon.
Such a long, successful career in motorcycle racing. Why did you want to get hands-on in karting?
Well, first of all, you know, I've always loved karting myself, but I have a young boy running around as well. So then that introduced me to the karting sport here in Australia. But look, I enjoy all forms of motorsport, and that's why again I put my hand up to be on this board. And hopefully, and I'm sure we can, we'll create a better experience for the karter all the way through. It really is a lot of great people involved with this, and it's a great bonding exercise with if you have family and kids, especially running in the sport. You know, the amount of time you get to spend with the kids throughout the weekend is fantastic.
Every form of motorsport has its own unique set of rules concerning tyres, and it's the same here in the CIK Stars of Karting. The rules are there to ensure that you can't afford to just be quick. You've got to also know how to look after your rubber. This season saw about a change in the control tyre that is used in the series, with MG tyres coming on board. While made in Brazil, the tyres are imported through Drew Price Engineering in Melbourne, and as you can see, there is no shortage of them, which is a good thing because they supply the rubber for all 3 pro categories. They also travel with the series across the country to make sure everyone has a fresh set and that no teams are breaking the rules. So what are those rules? Well, the teams are only given 1 new set of tyres per day, so 8 tyres in total for the weekend, which is only 40 for the whole year. Not a lot considering how many laps are completed in anger at each round. The MG Tyres team keep an eye on who is on what rubber over the space of an event, and by the end of the weekend, the boots are looking pretty ragged. There's also been a change in the compounds that are used too. Now, tyre compounds are measured in softness. The softer the compound, the more grip that's available. However, the tyre won't last as long and the grip levels drop away rapidly. The pro gearbox drivers have gone from a soft compound last year to a medium rubber this year. You can tell a medium compound tyre by the yellow MG signage. While the pro light teams use the same tyres as the pro gearbox drivers, the juniors are on a harder compound. This tyre is marked in red and lasts longer, which is a bit more forgiving for the younger drivers. The lessons these young drivers learn in tyre conservation are incredibly vital, as their future motorsport success will depend on their ability to look after their tyres. The development that goes into these tyres is remarkable, and the team at DPE tests the rubber to its limits when they can to help the team at MG understand more about the physical makeup of the tyre and in turn provide the best product possible for the races.
Tyres are a crucial part of any form of motorsport, right from karting through to the top level at Formula One. We have got a massive championship battle ongoing in Pro Junior here at Todd Road, thanks to Castrol Edge. It's the Stars of Karting, Matt Payne alongside Richard Craft for you in this one. This is an unbelievable championship battle, and already it's changed this weekend.
Yeah, it started off, it was 3 points up for James Abella coming into the weekend, but it's the Victorian Liam McClellan who leads the way by 9 points. He's going to start 5th on the grid for this one. Abella starting off at position 8, but up front it's Queenslander Callum Walker and New South Welshman Christopher Sandroni alongside. Then it's Andrew Carl and Bryce forward. As we said, McClellan, Klein, Strongman, Abella, Joshua Rogers and William Hawkes rounding out your top 10.
So we'll watch that run into turn 1 and we'll chart the progress of the championship rivals throughout the course of this one. Down the hill at Todd Road they go for the rolling start, and we're underway. Watch for Walker in the 3. The run down to turn 1. Here's Abella, championship contender. And it's very close, and there's drama at the back of the field. 3-4 karts involved.
Few of them have gone around there. Alexander Barbudas in the 34, one of the Key and Fothergill karting guys there. I think that might have been Joshua Rogers in the number 92 as they continue on. They're still trying to get them out of the way. The number 19 involved there too, Joshua Denton. That's his 2nd or 3rd for the weekend.
They'll be under yellow when they get to that corner next time by, but it was Callum Walker who led them through into turn 1. On board with Abella, there's plenty of positions changing in these early stages. of this first of two finals. Out of the final corner, fast corner, it is two.
Abella's got himself up to 5th position already, but the man that he's keeping an eye on is the driver of kart number 97, Liam McClellan. He sits in 2nd spot as McClellan. He's had a few dramas throughout the year, but he's been supreme. He's put in the consistency that he's needed to, and he's all over the back of the number 3 of Callum Walker, the young Queenslander.
Yeah, so Sandroni, as we see a change of the lead. Good pass, the 97 McClellan goes through. Sandroni started on the front row in the 76, but dropped back to 3rd in that first corner shuffle. And Walker now back to 2nd place. So the two drivers on the front row, Matt, are dicing there side by side. Sandroni goes through, or does he? Yes, finally at the final corner.
Sandroni's been one of the great stories of the championship. Came in and started the first final at Ipswich on the pole position. Did a great job there and really stood up. He won the Blackberry Powerful Award there, which is awarded to one of the juniors at each and every round of the Stars of Karting Championship. And he's doing a good job here. He sits in 3rd as Abella. He's all over the back of Andrew Carl. He doesn't need to be involved in this. He just needs to be pushing forward.
Yeah, he's right in the thick of the action, Matt. He is getting the short back and sides and lost 2 positions in that last little sequence. So wild stuff there for James. Needs to keep his thoughts cool, calm and collected in this one to get the points for this championship battle ongoing. What a great race so far. Fight on for the minors, and some gestures. What's going on? There was a move there in 4th or 5th position.
Looked like there was Damon Strongman got hung out to dry in kart number 4 as they go down this battle between Sandroni in the 76 machine and the number 3 of Callum Walker, the young Queenslander. What a story young Callum Walker is. Came into this season after an intense fitness regime in the off-season last year. Lost something like 15 kilos. Just an amazing story.
Well, he's just dropped back to 3rd. Look at him hunched down behind the steering wheel, trying just to reduce that aerodynamic effect as much as he can. Get out of the slipstream, and it might be worth an extra ½ k an hour, and that might be the difference. These very evenly matched karts. They run a Control Vortex 125 cc engine, just over 30 horsepower, 145 kilo minimum weight for kart and driver.
Here's Abella all over the back of Walker. The two are very similar in terms of their body shape and their height, as Abella's just trying to work his way forward. He's trying to chase down the number 97 of Liam McClellan, who currently leads the race. Abella can't afford to sit behind Callum Walker and let McClellan go forward any further.
So Abella, just to recap, up by 3 coming into the weekend, but that changed after the heat races, and man, he's in the thick of an action of a battle now with Walker, and finally gets it done. So it was 9 points coming into this race the other way around, with Liam McClellan leading the way.
Yeah, watch this. Here he is, all over the back of the number 3. They go through the left-hander, start working their way up the hill. This is a big move here from Abella. Oh, he just pushes the number 3 a little bit wide of Walker. He sets the move up perfectly. He set that move up 3 corners before it actually happened, and that shows all the benefit from last year of going and racing over in Europe did James Abella, and it's really come to the fore here this morning.
Yeah, fantastic battle. Really, really good, smart move. But now he's got Bryce Fullwood in the number 16 behind him. Bryce, a member of the Fujitsu Cool Driver program, which operates throughout a lot of tiers of development categories in Australian motorsport, both circuit car racing and karting as well. Lots of incentive prizes on offer for drivers who perform. And he's just tucked onto the back of the championship contender in that number 5.
Yeah, the young Darwinite for the NT Electrical Group there aboard the Fernando Alonso kart. He's the first driver from Darwin or the Northern Territory to have won an Australian championship, which he did a little bit earlier on this year in the Junior National Light category at the Australian Nationals at Monarto in South Australia. And he's gone on and come into the CIK Stars of Karting Championship for Castrol Edge and been right towards the front since his debut at round number 2.
Pretty handy person to have a go-kart named after as well, isn't it? Fernando Alonso, one of the all-time greats in the FA kart.
Yeah, it's one of the many chassis that are here in Australia now is the FA kart chassis built with Fernando's name attached to it. A number of guys have done that. Of course, there's also a Zanardi kart. Well, there's a Tony kart, which is really a Schumacher kart, I suppose you could say.
Here's the onboard pictures. Clear racetrack in front. It's a good sight for any racing driver in karts or cars. And you just focus eyes forward on what's going on. This is the climb up the hill at Side Road. real rhythm section of the racetrack. Then up to the top of the crest, left-hander, bit of curb, and then down the hill and down towards turn 1. 14,000 RPM right on the limiter as they get down to that first corner. This is a very good drive for Liam McClellan.
9 laps in the book for McClellan. Last night before they left the circuit, when I was leaving at 7 o'clock, his crew chief Clint Cathcart had that kart absolutely stripped. They have changed everything on the kart to come into today. They didn't leave anything on the shelf. Everything's there to try and ensure that they walk away with this Castrol Edge Stars of Karting Pro Junior Championship.
Well, championships are a team effort. Doesn't matter what level of motor racing you're at, and the CC Racing boys will have worked extremely hard to make sure that Liam's got the kart underneath him to try and do the job. So he's driving hard, isn't he? He's still pushing on despite the fact he's got a pretty comfortable lead out in front.
Yeah, we can't afford to be complacent though, because anything can happen in these finals, and with another one coming up later on this afternoon, that points advantage can quickly turn around, and he's just trying to build that advantage up in front. Clint Cathcart would have absolutely told him what he needs to do out there throughout the day. Clint, of course, no stranger to championship competition, CIK Stars of Karting competition, and knows what it takes to get up there and take the championship win.
We look at a fight a little bit further back. Callum Walker, who led early in this race, has got Jake Klein, that is in the 6 behind him, and Andrew Carl, the Karting World sponsored number 2 car.
Yeah, the number 6 of Jake Klein won the 3rd round at Geelong earlier on this year. Young Victorian driver has been doing a ripper job. As we go on board here, you can see the work that's required from the drivers going around this 1,000 metre Todd Road facility.
That's a great shot. It shows how physical these karts are to drive, and you have to be super fit to control them around this very fast 1,000 metre long circuit. Well, this race building up, we've got a thriller of a championship battle underway. We're going to jump away from Todd Road for a second. When we come back, the final stages of race 1 in Pro Junior. Welcome back to Todd Road in Melbourne's inner suburbs, not too far from the CBD, thanks to Castrol Edge. This is the Stars of Karting. It's the Pro Junior final. We're halfway through a ripper motor race. There's so much going on. There's a championship battle. There's a race battle going on for the minor positions. Matt Payne alongside me for this to try and explain all the permutations in this one. But before we get to championship, there's a great fight going on for the minors in this.
This is awesome as we see Andrew Carl move up there. Andrew has had an unlucky season. He turned 15 at the round at Eastern Creek a couple of rounds back, but you know, he's been right up the front. He had the first final at Ipswich, shot to bits with inside of the checkered flag, had a technical issue, had to pull off to the side of the racetrack. There's been no questioning the speed aboard that number 2 Tony kart of Andrew Carl right throughout the season. His father Gray's been working on it heavily all throughout the season, right throughout the 5 rounds, and he really wants a strong performance this weekend.
Great livery too. That looks cool, the 97. I like it a lot. McClellan out in front. And we've got a battle on. So he had quite a comfortable margin for a while there, but Sandroni's come back at him in these final few laps of this race, and he's got to the back engine, I guess, in the 97, and we've got a fight for the lead on.
This is so typical of CIK type of competition. Comes down to go-kart setup. You might be out the box incredibly quick like Liam McClellan was, but then it's all about the back end of the race. The X-Bree team has Tim Craig on board, who's been around a long, long time, of course, the old Top Kart team boss here in Australia, and he knows what it takes to win championships. He knows what it takes to win races at this level, and he has that X-Bree for Christopher Sandroni set up absolutely beautifully, and we're still only halfway through this race, so he'll know he will have told Christopher not to do anything stupid, just to go out there, concentrate on your own race. Christopher's a great kid, and he won't want to get involved in the championship battle either with with Liam, I should say. He'll just want to let him go and do his own thing and just do what he can to walk away with the race win.
Great start to the season for Liam McClellan with a couple of wins at Ipswich and then at Bolivar, but the wheels came off the wagon at Geelong when he failed to finish both finals there. So that cost him championship points and really brought him back to the field as we look for a move down at turn 1. Down the inside, even before they get into the corner. And there is a change of the lead. Sandroni takes it. So good pass And McClellan, if he wins this championship, and that's a very big if, he will have had to come from a couple of arduous few rounds, Matty, because at round 4 he missed the gate for quali and had to start from the back in all 3 heats and actually ended up on the podium in the final. So he's really had to work for a strong start to the year. The finish looking pretty good at the moment because he just retakes the lead.
Yeah, he wasn't letting Christopher get away with that. I thought that Liam might have actually been quite happy to sit there in second and keep an eye on what was going on in front of him, but no sirree, just goes straight up the inside as we're back on board with James Abella, just doing everything that he can to try and close the gap and get himself into a position should something happen with Liam McClellan and Christopher Sandroni. As isn't this getting a little bit willing here with the number 3 of Callum Walker. He's got the number 16 of Bryce Forward right behind him. Forward's not shy. He will not sit back and take a fight. He'll take it right up to the number 3 of Callum Walker.
Yeah, and well done, James, for just having the ability to see what was coming there. Big move. The 3 goes forward. So this is good racing. Right in the thick of the field. Plenty on the line for a championship in all of these Stars of Karting categories, the professional categories. As we work lap 20. And Callum Walker, the Formula K Australia kart. And he's crewed by Paul Gallo, who was the 2009 champion. Hayden McBride, he was on his kart when he won that title in 09. So there's plenty of experience behind the scenes, Matty. And it's often the unsung heroes in karting behind the scenes, tuning these karts, spannering these karts, as we see another lead change, that they don't often get a lot of the credit, but they play such a big role.
Yeah, it's all about the planning and preparation, as they say. Oh, up the inside. It was on the grass there, was Liam McClellan. He was on the grass trying to go up the inside of Christopher Sandroni. Don't forget, he just leads this championship. They're miles in front of position number 3 on the track. They've got 6 laps to go in this first final. And as you were saying, yes, it is all about the teams behind the scenes, whether it is part of a larger team or the family team. You see a lot of them, it's just dad and son out there doing the hard work. And as Mick Doohan was saying earlier in the show, it is such a family sport, karting.
Gee, looking at some of the age of some of the kids in this class, they wonder if they were even alive when Mick was winning his MotoGP World Championships. But it's great to have one of the all-time legends of Australian motorsport on 2 or 4 wheels, heavily involved now behind the scenes. And I'm sure Mick, with all his business acumen and his smarts, will be very, very good for the AKA and the Stars of Karting series in Australia. Lap 22. So many changes of the lead in this one. And the battle just settles down a bit now with Sandroni pulling away perhaps 5 or 6 kart lengths in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, definitely, and just doing a good job as Christopher Sandroni up in front. Great to see him leading a race and leading the final round here at Todd Road. Of course, we've got officials that have been out on circuit all day as well. And there, of course, we're speaking of unsung heroes, our officials, all volunteers from right around Australia, coming to be part of this weekend's activities as well.
Yeah, often as enthusiastic, if not more, than the people behind the wheel. The volunteer officials do an amazing job, and events like this couldn't function without them. Foot cam, I like to think of that. It's great, great shot looking over the left foot on that run down into turn 1.
That, of course, is the braking foot there of James Abella driving for the Horsley Park gun shop in that red speed chassis. So go through the right-hander.
Don't get him angry.
No, definitely not. No, young James doing a super job. He knows where he's at. He's trying to work his way forward, and he's got William Hawkes in that number 94 right behind him. William, of course, took his inaugural CIK Stars of Karting round win at Eastern Creek a little bit earlier on in the season, and just hasn't really had the results that he's been looking for aboard that Arrow kart as we're getting deep into the final laps of this opening final here of the final round at Todd Road. This is a Stars of Karting proudly brought to you by Castrol Edge.
It's a great shot, that one coming out of the final corner. You get a real impression of how quick these karts are out of that final turn here at Todd Road, and they fire down the hill. The elevation change doesn't show up quite as well on telly as it does when you're at the circuit, but they gain a lot of momentum running down the hill. That number 2 kart, Andrew Cole, that looks fantastic. A great livery. in the Karting World Tony Kart.
That's the current Tony Kart sticker kit from around the world, and Andrew Carl's been a fantastic exponent for the Tony Kart factory this year. We made mention before of Michael Schumacher being the most well-known Tony Kart driver, but you think about the drivers that have been through Tony Kart, not only here in Australia but around the world. Of course, James Courtney was one of the most famous from Australia to drive for that particular chassis.
Well, this championship will go down to the wire in the final race of the year, assuming things finish the way they are. And when you go back through Pro Junior and back in its day as Junior Intercontinental A, as some might remember it, the names that have triumphed in this class are unbelievable. Christian Jones, Michael Caruso, Neil McFadden, Timmy Slade and Andrew Thompson, co-drivers at the V8 Enduros this year. But 95-96, Ryan Briscoe, Indycar race winner, who's been at the very front in American racing. He's won in sports cars this year as well. He came out of this category and went on to karting success in Europe before ending up in the United States. So their heritage in Pro Junior is just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Daniel Ricciardo was another one of those to come through the Pro Junior ranks, of course, back in the day. And of course, next year we'll go on to race for Red Bull in Formula One. And he's been a true success story of CIK racing in Australia, gone on to the absolute highest level. You can't go on any higher than that. And you wonder if someone like Christopher Sandroni or Liam McClellan, we might see them spoken about in the same breath as those guys in the future to come.
Well, Cameron Hill's the defending champion in this class. Pierce Lahane won it 2 times before him in 2010 and 11. And he's moved up classes in the CIK Stars of Karting thanks to Castrol Edge. Final few corners.
Has McClellan got anything over the last couple of corners here? Sandroni, he's online for his first victory. McClellan, he'll have sitting very nicely in the championship if he can finish here. This is a critical part of the racetrack. McClellan goes to the outside. He feints to the inside. He's got a very wide line. He's going for a last lap corner pass. He pushes him wide. They come to the flag absolutely together. Who's going to get it? Who is going to get that?
Unbelievable finish. Contact across the line. Here's a look. And that is the margin. The 76 by half a nose. That is remarkable. Sandroni with a famous victory in Pro Junior. Well called, Matt. That was an awesome finish. Drag race to the final corner. And the commitment through that last corner was just epic.
34 1/1000ths of a second was the gap. A fantastic drive there from Sandroni, also from Liam McClellan. And now we go down into the pit area and Chad Nailon has the championship leader.
Well, what a finish to the first of our Pro Junior races. This guy, Liam McClellan, so close. First of all, let's talk through that finish. That was very, very tight.
Yeah, very intense finish, especially for the final one. Didn't manage to come out on top, but it was a great race.
The important thing, though, for you is the championship. Now you're in the key box position.
Yep, 13th or better in the next race, and championship's mine. Always an ideal situation to come into the last race.
That pass for the lead, you seem to give that one away fairly easy. Were you thinking championship?
I was thinking championship for sure. Clint Cathcart, my pit crew, and my dad were very hard on me, making sure I remembered that championship's up for grabs. So I had to make sure I was smart enough.
Well, Liam said championships are up for grabs. That's exactly what's going to happen. 13th or better in the final race, and it's coming up after this.
To join the likes of Ryan Briscoe, Michael Caruso, Tim Slade and Christian Limbom, the math for Liam McClellan is simple. Finish 13th or better in the final race of the year for Pro Junior and he will be the champion. But Matt Payne, it can't be that simple, can it?
Especially not when you're starting on the front row of the grid with a full field of the best junior drivers in Australia right behind you. Christopher Sandroni will start on the pole alongside McClellan. Then it's Callum Walker, followed by Bryce Fullwood, Andrew Carl, Jake Klein, William Hawkes. Keep an eye on James Abella out of position 8. He has got nothing to lose in this one.
Abella will be one to watch. He'll be driving hard from further down in the bottom of the top 10. So the 97 is Liam McClellan. The 76 Sandroni, who won the first race by 32 thousandths of a second. It was a remarkable drag race to the line, indicative of how close this class has been all weekend long. Away we go in the final race of the year and squeeze down to the inside. for the lead. Side by side they go. Move for the second row. There's some dramas further back in the field. Andrew Carl just got caught up in that. Here's Abella. He's through. He's clear. So he's got a couple of positions as well.
He's made up a couple of positions there, has James Abella. He's right behind Damon Strongman, who's using the Castrol Edge aboard that cut, number 4, the Haas machine. They work their way down the back straightaway. Liam McClellan's been dropped back to 3rd spot. He's got Callum Walker all over the back of him. Then it is Strongman, followed by Abella. So just a couple of positions here between our championship combatants as they work their way up the hill for the first time.
Well, we sort of half suspected it wouldn't be over that easy, did we? And it looks like that's how it's going to play out. Only lap 2, so many to go here at Todd Road. Great opening lap for Bryce Fullwood. The Fujitsu driver's managed to get himself to 2nd. He's attacking Sandroni for the lead. In these early stages, great start for the 16, that brightly coloured entry.
Yeah, the youngster out of the Northern Territory is a real star of the future. Been doing some racing up in Asia as well this year. He's all over the back of the Sydney Cider in Christopher Sandroni as they work their way up the hill, putting absolutely everything, leaving nothing on the table. Some of the best junior racers in the country. Through the top turn they run as Christopher Sandroni leading the Fernando Alonso cart of Bryce Fullwood down to turn number 1 on lap number 3.
Yeah, the FA cart that explains the Spanish style branding up the side. It looks brilliant, and right now, if the 76 had rear view mirrors, that's what he'll see. But when he takes a quick look over his shoulder, he'll see him right there locked onto the rear bumper. There's the 6 in front. Jake Klein here, so he's involved in this battle. Will follow the progress of Abella as well. The championship contender, the leader coming into this weekend, and what a frustrating turn of events that McClellan has been the one to capitalise.
Yeah, as we were saying before, McClellan can afford to not get involved in a championship battle here. He only has to finish in 13th position or better, but look where he is right now, right behind James Abella going down to turn number 1. This is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Will McClellan stick there, or will he just back out of it completely?
Why do I get the feeling he's not going to just back out of it, Matt Payne?
He's got a helmet on.
Yeah, correct. And all sense of reason often goes out the window when that happens. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. This is the fight for the lead, and it's a good one too, because the 16 Fullwood really just applying the pressure. He's good through this section of the racetrack, but in the last couple of laps hasn't got close enough on that run to turn 1 to have a go. This time is better though. And the leader will have to cover his line just a little bit. No, not quite. So he hasn't been able to get through yet. So far, so good for Sandroni holding on out in front.
Yeah, Fullwood will want to get on with the job fairly quickly, because right behind him now is Callum Walker and Jake Klein. They've come from nowhere. It looks as though that Sandroni's starting to become the cork in the bottle, with Callum Walker all over the back of Bryce Fullwood, the Northern Territorian, as we work the early laps in this extremely long race.
Here he goes, up the inside, contact. Sandroni off the road, hands in the air. What went on there? Well, he was up the inside, and you mentioned cork in the bottle, Matt Payne, and that's very much the truth, because it always tends to explode at some point during the race, and that was the moment when Fullwood had to go up the inside.
It's going to be a very pivotal moment in this race. I think our officials will be keeping a very, very close eye on that particular incident between Bryce Fullwood and Christopher Sandroni. We may not have heard the end of that one just yet, but meantime, Callum Walker, he's going to get on with the job. He's right behind Fullwood with the number 6 of Klein right behind him. Of course, the number 3 there, Walker, had some bad luck at the Geelong round of the championship. Probably a little bit unfairly got a black flag in the second final there when he was running within the top 3 or 4, and certainly would have been able to throw a challenge out for the championship had he have been able to finish that race. We're saying during final number 1 that he lost something like 15 kilos in the off-season. He's been working with Techno Performance on the Gold Coast. If you follow V8 Supercars, you'll be quite familiar with the Techno racing team, and they have a human performance division as well.
Yeah, it's a great program too, and Shane Van Gisbergen, Jonathan Webb, 2 drivers there, both former karters, and working very closely. So it's a great thing Techno's got going. It's nice to see them involved in karting as well as their V8 Supercar aspirations. Not having too bad a season, it must be said as well, the Techno Autosport team. So this fight continues, and Walker continuing to harass the back of the 16. A great fight for the lead it's been. And it must be said, Matt, the standard across all of these pro categories here at Stars of Karting, thanks to Castrol Edge here at Todd Road, it's been unbelievable, hasn't it? The racing's just been superb.
The professionalism just continues to raise with every single race meeting that they go to with this Castrol Edge Stars of Karting. Oh no, we're on board with a Bella here, and up the inside goes the number 97 of the championship leader, as there's a problem there for William Hawkes. He pulls off to the side of the track. Look at this, James Abella and Liam McClellan going at it.
Now the math for McClellan, as we said at the top of the race, 13th or better. So really doesn't need to get involved in this, but as Matt Payne said before, he's got a helmet on, and that makes all the difference because he'll want to fight for every last position. The racer's instinct in him will be telling him to do that, so it might not be over for Abella just yet. There still may be hope that he can get an improbable championship victory, having led coming into the weekend, surrendered that lead during the heat races, and then had it extended in the first final. So it's not over yet by any stretch of the imagination.
This OK1 chassis of the number 97 of McClellan working beautifully. The OK is a brand of the Tony Kart chassis, manufactured in Italy under the Tony Kart roof, so to speak, but will have its own go fast bits on it, and they're certainly going very fast at the hands of this young Victorian.
Yeah, it's been a great performance this weekend for McClellan, hasn't it? He's just been very, very good throughout the heat races, and indeed that first final where he posted a very, very good drive and had a proper crack at winning the thing too. So Abella in the 5, he's got that blue and white plate on the front, which signifies a whole lot of success this season. But he's just applying the pressure, and he's got nothing to lose now, you'd think, Matt. Why not have a go?
He doesn't. We're halfway through this race. Abella has to finish, and McClellan has to finish 13th or better. So if you're sitting in Abella's seat, what's going through your mind? You're following the guy you're racing for a championship.
Big moment there for Damon Strongman. That was in the number 4, the Hassett Cards Australia entry. I think he's got issues because he just dropped right off the racing line there. And yeah, he's out of the run. He's gone.
Yeah, bad luck for Damon. He's just hasn't had the season of luck at all. He was expected to be one of the favourites for the championship this year. Just nothing's really gone right for him, and you know, a really sad way to end his 2013 championship.
Drag that cart out of harm's way here at Todd Road, lap 12. And the battle for the lead continues with Fullwood holding on from Walker, and further back that championship battle just percolates away with McClellan and Abella fighting it out for basically the bottom half of the top 5.
Of course, this is the top end of the championship, and the top end of karting in Australia is the Stars of Karting series. You don't necessarily need to be at this level to get involved in the sport. You can get involved in the sport very cheaply, as there's a problem for Jake Klein. His kart screamed enough and he's out of this one. You can get involved in the sport at a very respectable level and race almost every weekend right around Australia if you wanted to.
The fight for the lead continues. McClellan, 2 feature wins or final wins to his credit this season. As we said before, in the opening 2 rounds of the year, he started his championship very, very well, but through the midpoint struggled. He had some bad luck, he had some mechanical failures, and then he missed the gate in qualifying for one of the rounds, and that cost him at round 4, but still managed to get to the podium. So he's had to do it the hard way to get to the front. But he's been consistent on the podium 6 times from 8 finals before this weekend. So once again, that consistency has certainly helped him out, Liam McClellan. Damon Strongman with a couple of final victories. James Abella just the one at round 4, but plenty of podiums to his credit. So he's been chipping away, and we're on board with the man who leads the standings.
Liam McClellan here doing a good job. Now we go back to James Abella, still holding line astern. Gee, this is a battle. If I'm James Abella, I'm going to try and throw every single thing that I can at Liam McClellan.
We'll find out how it turns out when we come back from a short break to Todd Road, the Castrol Edge Stars of Karting. Welcome back to Todd Road, the Castrol Edge Stars of Karting. It's the Pro Junior final, the final round of the year, the final race of the year. There's a fight on for the lead with Bryce Fullwood finding himself under pressure from Callum Walker. But the championship battle continues to be fought out between James Abella and Liam McClellan. Matt Payne alongside me for this. It's been great racing, the juniors. They have put on a great show.
Yeah, this has been a superb drive here from both Bryce Fullwood and the number 3 of Callum Walker. Don't forget that Bryce still has hanging over his head that early race incident with Christopher Sandroni. We may hear a little bit more about that after the race. I'm not sure at this stage, but the championship battle, we saw the leader right in front of the second place man. I don't know about you, but I had a little bit of a feeling of a Schumacher-Villeneuve type thing going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. That didn't end particularly well for either of those two, did it, in the end? So we'll see what happens in this one. About halfway through the final. And this is James Abella on board. I like to call it foot cam because it really shows his braking foot working hard. And there's the 97, the man that leads the championship. It's a great fight. It's been ongoing all weekend long. And it will go down to the wire in this one, it seems. Which one's Schumacher, which one's Villeneuve?
Well,
that'd be interesting.
I wish that we had a camera down in the pits at the moment on Liam's father, Mal. And, of course, Clint Cathcart, what about that? Abella goes straight up the inside. There wasn't much room there, yet McClellan's not going to let him get away. I wish we had a pit cam on the crew right now. That'd be interesting.
The stress levels would be very high, you'd think, at the moment down in pit lane. So much work goes into a full season's competition. Here's another look at this move. Well, yeah, good move. Down the inside.
Listen to that Vortex engine, absolutely screaming. Vortex, of course, is the engine manufacturing plant of the Tony Kart factory over there in Europe. In Australia, we run a control engine in both the junior and pro light categories. That, of course, is to keep costs down. Over in Europe, you can choose whichever manufacturer you like.
So about 32 horsepower, minimum weight of 145 kilos, but man, these things get up and move. 14,000 RPM. You've got the electric start and the centrifugal clutch as well. That's just made karting completely different, hasn't it? Those two features have changed the game. It just makes it more accessible, easier to manage, and even more affordable as well.
Yeah, even in the olden days, if you want to call it that, you used to push the karts away. Not only was it a little bit dangerous, but, you know, you'd always have the potential of a drama. Now they're pretty much foolproof, and you just press a button and you go away and you're on track. And that's right throughout the categories, not just through this CIK Stars of Karting categories. We're on board here with Liam McClellan down the front straightaway, right behind James Abella, down to turn number 1. Will he have a look at him, or will he just follow? Remember, McClellan can afford to sit behind James Abella in the position that they're in right now.
So Schumacher and Villeneuve, you called it a while back in that famous Formula One championship battle. One driver can afford to be further back than he is, but he doesn't want to give up the 97. He is going to fight this one to the flag. James Abella in front. He's fighting for pride at the moment because McClellan can afford to be 13th or better to wrap up the Pro Junior Championship, but he wants to fight this one right to the flag. Lap 22. There is not far to go here at Todd Road.
Just a handful of laps remaining, but that could be an eternity if you're sitting aboard the kart number 97 crew or the kart number 5 crew. Abella's done a sensational job. We've been speaking about consistency throughout this Stars of Karting Championship, and he has just been the embodiment of consistency. Came in this weekend 3 points ahead, and now he's got the championship leader right behind him, who's going to try and have another crack at James Abella.
Yeah, it's not over yet. You can feel the pressure just building between these two, and Abella just had a little mistake going into 2 and just slid the rear of the kart around, and McClellan drew closer. So this final corner that's been an action zone for so much overtaking over the course of the weekend. Here's Abella looking out the front of his kart to turn 1. The pressure in pit lane must be immense because there's so much on the line in these championships in Stars of Karting. And there's so much pressure. It's not just the honour and the prestige. It's joining the ranks of some of the greats in Aussie motorsport, like Tim Slade, like Ryan Briscoe and Michael Caruso, some big names. This is a real boost for a young man's career.
Oh yeah, most definitely, not to mention a $10,000 scholarship that they're going to receive towards a CIK event somewhere internationally. And just a few laps to go. Who is it going to be? Will it be the number 5? of James Abella, or will Liam McClellan hold on as they go down to turn number 1? Very, very tight. This is ridiculous. I can't tell you how ridiculous this is. Liam McClellan, he doesn't need to be involved in this fight.
Well, he needs to be careful because he can have a desperate shot and it might pull it off, but there's also the other side that it might not. He might end up parked on the side of the road, and if he does that, then all of a sudden the championship picture changes around. So he needs to play this game carefully. Sure, get involved in the fight, have a go, but you need to watch your 1%ers because it's those last little extra bit that cost you a championship. He needs to be careful now.
And it is those 1% that make up a Castrol Edge Stars of Karting Championship. Oh, here we go. McClellan up the inside of Abella. Abella fights back and then pulls out of it. Finally, does Liam McClellan. That was pretty smart driving right there.
Yeah, Abella just wide at turn 1, missed the apex, and that allowed McClellan to have a very good run, but just backed up. Oh, here we go. Still side by side. Around the back of the circuit. It's on. It's properly on between these two, and Abella holds on.
Oh, this is brilliant racing. Fantastic way to end what has been a sensational championship. Thanks to the guys at Castrol Edge for their continued support of CIK racing in Australia. Andrew Carl is now on the back. It's a race in 3. He's going to get involved in the championship battle as well.
I think someone's leading this race, not sure, because all eyes on this amazing fight for the championship in the Castrol Edge Stars of Karting, the CIK Stars of Karting. It's been a great season. And this is the fight for the overall standings. Abella in front with McClellan fighting. If he finishes where he is, he will be champion. But there's risk involved with a couple of laps to go. There's still a chance for James Abella.
You just can't take your eyes off the action. This is absolutely sensational. They're further back in the pack. The last lap has started. Bryce Forward leads the way. He's got Callum Walker right on his hammer. But this is where the interest is. This is where the action is. It's where the championship is. It's going to go down literally to the last metre of this 1,000 metre circuit.
Well, it's a shame if you're leading this race, if you're Bryce Forward, because all the attention's not on you like it usually is for a race winner. It's on this amazing battle for the minor positions, but with a championship on the line. And it's going to go down to the wire, this one. McClellan looking racy. There's not far to go at Todd Road. About 400 metres, in fact, and the championship to be decided.
So they head up to the top of the hill for the final time and out of the final corner. Then down the front straight away they go, and in the meantime Bryce Forward has crossed the line first over Callum Walker. He's got through. However, I think that there's going to be some after-race shenanigans going on there, but the championship battle has been won by Liam McClellan in that number 97. It went down to the wire. Forward has the checkered flag in his hand, but we have to go to the final placings there, and in the end the officials hand the win to Callum Walker over that early race incident from James Abella, then McClellan, Carl, Rogers, Sandroni back to 6th, Jacob Bright, Foyle, Ciccardo and Thomas Steele rounding out the 10.
So the drama goes right to the very end in the Pro Junior class here at Todd Road. A remarkable end. Walker, well done. Abella and McClellan fought out for the championship. It ended up being for 2nd and 3rd on the road as well. That was a remarkable finish to a great championship season.
Yeah, spare a thought there for Bryce Forward as Liam McClellan wins the championship and the John Target Trophy with 563 points over James Abella. Andrew Carl got up to 3rd. Sandroni, Walker rounding out your top 5.
Strollman there in 6 ahead of Hawkes and Jake Klein, but what an amazing fight. And McClellan, he took some risks in that last race. He didn't need to be dicing as hard as he was with James Abella, but he did anyway. It was a drive of a champion, and Chad Nailon will be down with some very happy winners after a great race in the Pro Junior final.
You did exactly what you needed to do. You stayed out of trouble, and the important thing is you're the champ.
Yeah, exactly. I was just trying to stay out of trouble, and I knew I just needed to come 13th or above, which I did, and now I'm Australian champion, first time, and I can't believe it. Great team effort, like CC Racing, Clint Cathcart helped me every round. He was there. Also my dad and Shamik. Without the opportunity, I couldn't have done this series, and it was close the whole series, so I knew I could do it, and I've done it. It's great.
Congratulations, Liam.
Thanks, mate.
You were fast in the heats, you were fast in the finals. Pretty good weekend all round.
Yeah, it's amazing. Words can't describe it. It's just so awesome.
You're pretty excited on the podium.
Yeah, it was. It's been a long time. It's been a lot of hard work. From the end of last year to start of this year, the whole season. It's been all the hard work, effort put in by the team, myself, everyone that's helped me get here.
What a fantastic way to round out the Pro Junior Championship. Thanks to Castrol Edge here this weekend. Callum Walker gets his first win, so too Chris Sandroni and Liam McClellan, the new champion.
Next week, we'll bring you the tag finals from Todd Road, the supports from the Castrol Edge Stars of Karting. On behalf of Matt Payne, I'm Richard Kroll. Thanks for watching. It's been a great show. We'll see you next week with the tag finals from the CIK Stars of Karting.